Welcome to the Man Cave Podcast with Dan Casper.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of the Man Cave Podcast, brought to you by our good friends from Hy-Vee and Toyson Ford. And don't forget to check out the Swag Cave. That link is in the podcast description to get your podcast swag over there. Oh, man, on this episode, it's prediction time with the NFL season kicking off here. So I've got my season predictions. We're talking about teams going to the playoffs, Super Bowl matchups, Super Bowl winners, handing out some individual awards as well. So take it to the bank with those picks. That's coming up in the second half of this episode. But I want to begin with the first half of this episode with some bold predictions when it comes to the Green Bay Packers. So I've got five bold predictions for this season for the Packers that there's a small part of me that believes could happen. So let's begin there. I've got my five bold Packers predictions as we get set for kickoff Friday night against the Philadelphia Eagles. I've got a receiver getting 1,000 yards this year, too. For all the talk about a receiver getting 1,000 yards, or excuse me, who the number one wide receiver is, I think eventually, naturally, it'll progress to like, oh, okay, that guy kind of rose to the top, kind of the cream of the crop. Cream rises to the top there. I think it naturally will happen. But I think the receiver that gets 1,000 yards this year, bold prediction, remember, I'm going to go Dontavian Wicks. Dontavian Wicks gets 1,000 yards receiving. I'm not 100% comfortable in that, but that's why we call it bold predictions. So Dontavian Wicks gets 1,000 yards receiving this year. Josh Jacobs. Okay, Josh Jacobs. I'm going to go with, I think he gets over, at least, but over 1,700 total yards. Not 1,700 rushing yards, but 1,700 total yards. 1,700, I'm going to put the line at 17. So that could be 1,000 yards rushing, 700 yards receiving, whatever. But over 1,700 total yards from scrimmage. So that's where I'm riding with that one. What's next on my bold predictions list here? Got two defensive ones coming up here. Rashawn Gary gets his first double-digit sack season within this new defense. He's been close a couple times. The closest, you got to go back to 2021, where he had 9.5 sacks. Last year, he had 9 sacks. But Rashawn Gary has never had a double-digit season with sacks. I think he accomplishes it this year with his hand in the dirt, playing a more prototypical defensive end with a defensive line that Jeff Hafley wants to be aggressive in pursuing the quarterback. Rashawn Gary gets his first double-digit sack season this year. Maybe that's not the boldest of bold predictions here, but considering we've got 5 seasons under his belt and he has yet to get a double-digit sack season, I'm riding with, I think he gets it in his 6th season this year. Staying on the defensive side, I think the Packers do finish top 5 in the league in turnovers, in creating turnovers, and getting interceptions, getting fumbles, that sort of thing. I think they will be top 5. You know what? I'm going to change it. Top 3. They're going to go top 3 in the league defensively in turnovers. Buying a little bit into the hype and the talk surrounding Jeff Hafley and this defense. I think they're going to put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. They're going to play aggressive in coverage, and they are going to get a bunch of turnovers this year. Top 3 in the league in turnovers. And then finally, maybe the boldest of bold predictions out there. But we got to end our bold predictions with one really big-time bold prediction. All right? One big-time bold prediction. Braden Narveson is at least 88% from field goals this year. 88% from field goals this year. Misses just one extra point. Just one extra point this year. To which we will finish off the season by saying, Braden Narveson, you are our kicker for the foreseeable future. We will end this green and gold nightmare of trying to find a long-term solution at the kicking position. Not as long as Minnesota's gone through, or maybe even, Chicago posts Robbie Gould. Not necessarily those droughts, but this is probably the biggest question mark, biggest concern amongst a lot of Packers fans. Braden Narveson will finish at least 88% from field goal range this year and only miss one extra point. He's going to get it done this year. He's going to get it done. So, those are my top 5 Packers bold predictions for this season. Hey, speaking of bold predictions, want to remind you too, excited to partner up with Underdog Fantasy this season. With Underdog Fantasy, you can win up to 1,000 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on your favorite player stats, like touchdowns and receiving yards. What I enjoy most about Underdog Fantasy is the ease of doing pick'ems. I was just doing them the other day. You got your players over there, and you literally just pick higher, lower. Higher than 55.5 yards receiving or lower. Boom. That's simple. Making picks on Underdog is straightforward, and signing up is even easier. Just head over to Underdog's simple-to-use mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with the promo code CASPER, that's Kasper, and Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code CASPER to claim your new customer special of a free pick, and your deposit offer must be 18 and older and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. All right, let's take a quick break, and then coming up, I've got my NFL season predictions. Coming up after these quick words. Get ready for football season with Hy-Vee. Whether you're tailgating at the game or having a party at your home, Hy-Vee has all the essentials you need for game day. From meats to put on the grills to snacks and beverages, including their huge wine and spirits department, Hy-Vee is your tailgating headquarters. And don't forget to check out their sports shop too, where you can get some swag to help cheer on your favorite team, including the local high schools. It's football season. Score a touchdown with all of your football needs with Hy-Vee in Eau Claire. We're getting set for another busy travel season, vacations, taking our kids to all their games and activities, and you need a proper vehicle to get you to where you're going, and safely. That's where Toyson Ford can help you. Toyson Ford will go the extra mile to provide you with compelling options for new and used car shopping. They will gladly work with you on financing no matter what your budget may be. They're committed to giving drivers across the Chippewa Valley the best in customer service. Check them out for yourself. Visit Toyson Ford in Chippewa Falls today and check out their website, toysonford.net. Welcome back, and it is time now to get to my NFL 2024 season predictions. Teams who will be making the playoffs, who's winning in the playoffs, who's going to the Super Bowl, winning the Super Bowl, and we're going to hand out some individual awards as well. So let's start off with the teams that will be making the playoffs coming from the AFC. It's not a very out there pick, but the 1 seed will be the Kansas City Chiefs. 2 seed, I'm going to go with the Houston Texans. Number 3, I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins. Number 4, the Ravens. The 5 seed, the first wild card. So those top 4 are your division winners. The 5 seed, the top wild card, I'm going to go with the Cleveland Browns. I think they go back this year. A lot is going to depend on the play with Deshaun Watson, but there's no doubt he's got talent all across, offensively and defensively. I'm going to go with the New York Jets coming in at number 6. I mean, they're on the field. if they're healthy, they're too talented to not be in the postseason. The only thing that's holding them back is themselves at this point. And then I got the Buffalo Bills squeaking in that final playoff spot. The one thing that I'm a little bit concerned about with the Bills, I mean, no Stephon Diggs, a little bit of a younger talent surrounding Josh Allen, weapons-wise. How quick will they be on the same page in that? So, but, when I look at this, I'll be honest with you, I really tried to pick another team besides the Chiefs to be the 1 seed. I don't know if I'm ready to put the Texans at that level yet. Dolphins, I think, the AFC East is going to be an interesting division between the Dolphins and the Jets and the Bills over there. I think they kind of beat up on each other a little bit here. But Dolphins, if they're healthy, I mean, that offense is dynamic. They should be able to put up some points there. Defense, I have a little question marks because just a little bit of an unknown at this point. And, Ravens I've got at the 4 seed because they lost a lot on the defensive side, with coaches and position coaches leaving. So, again, a little bit of an unknown there. Will there be a little bit of time to get acclimated, kind of get into the flow of things? So, with all that being said, I think the Chiefs play in a little bit of an easier division. They've got the Chargers, who they lost a lot of people, but Harbaugh's coming over there. I think that's a positive move. Raiders, I don't know what to expect with Pierce as head coach full-time now. And then, the quarterback position, Denver, they're going out there with a rookie, Bo Nix, right away. So I think the Chiefs play in an easier division. I think that's why they will get the 1 seed there. Whereas Texans, Jaguars, I think are going to be their main competition. Yes, the Colts are there. They're going to give them a little bit of a run as well, but I think the Texans can get through. And then AFC East and the AFC North, I think are going to beat up on each other a little bit here, and that's why maybe some of those teams like the Ravens I've got as a 4 seed instead of a top 2 seed at that point. So then in the postseason, I've got the Texans defeating the Buffalo Bills. I've got the Jets defeating the Miami Dolphins, and the Browns over the Ravens. So yeah, a couple division rivals going up against each other, going seed-wise, a little bit of an upset. Then I have the Texans beating the Browns to advance to the AFC Championship game, and then the Chiefs over the Texans. Chiefs over the Texans. And then I'm going to have the Chiefs over the Texans there. So, but did I forget? Yeah, Chiefs over Jets. Let's back up here. I think I missed a spot here. Texans over the Bills, Jets over the Dolphins, Browns over the Ravens, then the Chiefs over the Jets, the Texans over the Browns, and then the Chiefs over the Texans. So Chiefs advancing back to the Super Bowl. Let's do the NFC now. If I did this a couple weeks ago, I wouldn't have this team at number 1. I was a little bit down on them this year because of all the holdouts and such. But I do have the 49ers as the top seed. I still have a little bit of a question mark surrounding them, how good they're going to be. I think they're a playoff team this year, but are they going to be, like the team that we saw last year, which was, pretty dominant and such. So I do have them there. I do have the Cowboys finishing as the 2 seed. I mean, they're a regular season, team where they rack up a bunch of wins, but they can't get to the postseason there. So the one thing I do have a concern about with the Cowboys, though, is no Dan Quinn on the defensive side. How will Mike Zimmer get that defense to play at a high level? So, and really, and I'll explain why I've got those 2 teams at the top coming up here in just a second. I'm going to go with the Falcons finishing in the 3rd spot. Maybe a little bit of surprise there. But Kirk Cousins with that young, talented team on the offensive side over there. Then I've got the Packers finishing as the 4 seed. Rams as a top wild card team at 5. The Lions getting the 6th seed. And then the Eagles finishing as the 7th seed, that final wild card spot. Eagles have a lot of talent. There's no question about it. They completely overhauled their coaching staff, new defensive coordinator, new offensive coordinator. We'll see. I mean, I think Sirianni's on a hot seat this year. If this team starts off how they finished, it'll be interesting to see how the whole season goes. That's why I'm a little bit down on them at this point. Just because you have the most talent on the field doesn't mean that's going to translate into wins all the time. So I'm kind of, it's a little bit of an unknown for the Eagles. On paper, they look really good when you factor in their coaching staff too, but I just can't get that out of my mind from what we saw last year with them. So that's why I've got the Cowboys at number 2, because I don't think the Giants are going to be players, and I don't think Washington's going to be players this year. So I think the Giants or the Cowboys rack up some wins that way. Rams, I'm intrigued on. I think they could be a pesky team with the 49ers. I really do. But overall, I just think the 49ers have a little bit more depth here, and no Aaron Donald on that defense is going to be a big gap for this Rams team. Matthew Stafford, can he stay healthy throughout the whole season? Could Cooper Kupp stay healthy? Could Puka, stay healthy? Because that's a formidable quarterback, 2 wide receiver trio over there. But I think the 49ers do take the division over the Rams. Otherwise, like I said a couple weeks ago, I probably would have flip-flopped that. Falcons, I think, in that division, I know Buccaneers went to it last year. I'm not quite sold yet on the Buccaneers. I know they got a lot of talent, but I'm not there yet. Carolina's not there yet. We'll see with their new head coach. We'll see. This is a big year for Bryce Young in year 2 of that program over there. And then, you look at the Saints. I think there's question marks galore. Dennis Allen is definitely in a hot seat. Derek Carr on the hot seat over there too. So Falcons bringing in Kirk Cousins to, kind of get them over the top. They spent a lot of money on him. They got some young offensive players, acquired Matthew Judon before the season started. So I think the Falcons are going to win this division. The Packers are at number 4, but I think, for one, I've got this NFC North kind of beating up on each other. I know I only got 2 teams in the postseason here, but I could see the Packers, the Lions, the the Bears, and the Vikings kind of all beating up on each other, where they may not have as many wins as like the Cowboys or the 49ers, but maybe a better team than those teams too. So I think it's the toughness of the division there, and that's where I've kind of got 49ers and Cowboys at the top there, and Falcons kind of just by default too. I think they're in a little bit of an easier division. I'm just really high in the NFC North this year. I think they're going to beat up on each other here a little bit, and that's why the NFC North champion is going to be as that 4 seed. So, I got the Cowboys over the Eagles. Again, I should be high on the Eagles because of what we've seen on paper, what we see on roster and this coaching staff, but I can't get what happened at the end of the season last year out of my head. Lions over the Falcons. Then we're going to go Packers over the Rams in a 4-5 matchup. Moving on, we're going to go 49ers over the Lions in a rematch of the NFC Championship and Week 1 of this season. Packers defeat the Cowboys again in the postseason in Dallas, which I think will end Mike McCarthy's tenure with the Cowboys. And then Packers over 49ers in the NFC Championship, because why not? All right, I'm a Packers fan. I can pick this how I want. Packers over the Chiefs, Super Bowl champions. Boom. Take it to the bank, baby. Packers over Chiefs in a rematch of Super Bowl 1. All right. By the way, going back to the AFC playoffs, in my predictions, we finally get Aaron Rodgers versus Patrick Mahomes. After how many times that's failed, and how many matchups Packers in last year with the Jets and that, and nope, never happened. Well, it'll happen in the postseason this year. All right, let's hand out some individual awards here. MVP, I'm going to go C.J. Stroud, quarterback for the Texans. I wanted to go with maybe a little bit of a wild card pick there, a less obvious pick out there. So I've seen C.J. Stroud beat some picks. I don't want to say I'm the only one, but the Patrick Mahomes picks or any of those other guys, those are easy to make. So I'm going to go C.J. Stroud here. Offensive Player of the Year, I'm going to go C.D. Lamb with the Dallas Cowboys. Actually, I'm going to go with a wide receiver, and I'm going to go C.D. Lamb here. Defensive Player of the Year. I feel like you just pick somebody from the AFC North and you're probably feeling pretty good. So I'm going to go Roquan Smith, linebacker from the Baltimore Ravens, to win Defensive Player of the Year this year. Although I wanted to pick Micah Parsons, but again, I don't know the Mike Zimmer effect on this defense. Coach of the Year, I'm going to go DeMeco Ryans for the Houston Texans. Remember, these awards are handed out at the end of the regular season. Postseason is not included here. So I'm going to go DeMeco Ryans as the Coach of the Year. Offensive Rookie of the Year, I'm going to go Caleb Williams, quarterback for the Chicago Bears. He's the easy leader heading into the season, and I think he will secure that. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Jared Verse from the Rams, defensive lineman over there. So he's my Defensive Rookie of the Year. Remember this past draft, the first defensive player was it taken? I think by Minnesota. We got in the teens there. It was like all offense. So, but I'm going to go Jared Verse with the Rams for your defensive rookie of the year. And your comeback player of the year. Got a couple quarterbacks potentially to choose from, Kirk Cousins and such, but I'm going to go Aaron Rodgers. Kirk Cousins at least played a few games last year. Aaron Rodgers, if he finishes off the season and has a solid season, he will win comeback player of the year. So, what are your predictions? What are your NFL predictions? Hit me up. I want to hear it. All right? Hit me up on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever the case may be. Okay? Happy start to the NFL season, everybody. Appreciate you tuning in to this episode of the Man Cave Podcast, brought to you by Hy-Vee and Toyson Ford. Don't forget to follow and subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you could, give us a 5-star rating and a positive review so others can find the podcast. Until next time, I'm Dan Casper, and I will talk to you on the next episode of the Man Cave Podcast.